Good evening, everyone. My name is McCabe Gorman. I am a health blogger at healthmanagementrx at posturous.com. I'm a health tweet at jenmccabegorman. I am co-founder of Next Health and chief patient advocate at organizedwisdom.com. I'm so sorry that I couldn't be there with you tonight. Last night, as I was preparing for the trip, I came down with a really bad case of the flu. But thanks to 2.0 social web technologies like YouTube, Fligo, and Twitter, I'm able to talk to you while also spending time with my throat drops. And this is what's really important about Health 2.0. This is the only thing that's important about Health 2.0, and that's patient empowerment. Patient empowerment is the only meme that underlies all of the existing definitions of the concept, whether they come from Matthew Holt of Health 2.0, Teddy Tan of Kaiser Permanente and Clinivations, or Scott Shreve of Crossover Health. Patient empowerment is the only thing that connects all elements of the system and enables us to deliver better care, and it is the most underutilized resource in the healthcare system. Patients are a tremendous asset. We are literally living streams of data which are now being pushed online at will, and we aren't using them. Whether you call what's headed our way with tech and medicine participatory medicine, as do the e-patients, Giles Friedman, Dave Bronkhart, Susanna Fox at Pew, or collaborative medicine, as does Adam Bosworth at Kias, or whether you call it consumer-centric care, as we do at Health Management RX. We are headed to a place where patient input is vital to the underlying structure of medical care design and delivery. If you are not planning for this direction, you're missing out. And this is where your organization can also add the most value in terms of integrating Health 2.0 or social web HIT technologies. When we are in the current medical system and we're interacting with our physician, we have an episodic care delivery model where an illness or injury occurs and a patient sees a doctor. That doctor then educates and then recriminates so that hopefully the patient will pay attention to the treatment plan. Now, with social web tools and technologies, we're able to educate beyond the point of care. We're able to educate and interact with the patient online. Instead of educating and recriminating, we move to a model of educating and then eliminating unhealthy behaviors. Another important value add of Health 2.0 is that all the tools and technologies that might be included within the movement, whether they're social networking sites like Twitter or older throwbacks like web-based EHRs, Google Health, Microsoft Health Vault, is that they are location independent but people interdependent. This opens up a whole world of potential care delivery and interactions. Opens up a whole world of new data streams, new life streams, new bodies of personal biometric data that patients are offering free of charge, at will, online. Look, the social web is about the way that we live. Our health is a part of the way that we live. It does not define it. The social web takes this into account and allows us to express our individuality in all aspects of our life, whether it's our shopping behaviors, our taste in music, or how we dealt with our diabetes today. The added value of having all these N=1 individualized data streams has not yet been harnessed by the industry, but it can be. And when it is, this will add exponential value to the system. All of healthcare is additive at first. Let's take, for instance, vaccinating someone against an epidemic of influenza. You vaccinate someone one at a time, but the more people you vaccinate, the more the health of the population is inured against a future outbreak of influenza. We should look at using Health 2.0 in the social web and healthcare the same way. One person at a time, one tool at a time. If the tool works and the patient likes us, their conversation about our organization will become exponential. They will publish it to the rest of the web. And this is a value that we cannot begin to approximate as an individual organization. Now, the big challenges for taking your organization from a 1.0 orientation to a 2.0 agile development orientation are legion. I won't sugarcoat it. One of the most difficult things to do is let go. There is a loss of control that comes from making your information, whether it's quality, outcomes, care data, morbidity and mortality numbers, your budget, the number of employees you have, your business model. This indicates a loss of control, and it's something that will take some time to get used to. Here's something you need to remember as you look at integrating Health 2.0 technologies into a 1.0 world. You no longer own the message. We do. If you remember that, you'll be fine. If you try to grasp control back from patients who are talking about your services, you will notice a return to mediocrity. And that is a state in healthcare with which we're tired and with which we won't bear for much longer. Now, the second big challenge is to change your marketing behaviors. No more marketing speak, no more advertorials, no more dry press releases. Look at Twitter for examples. Look at Scott Monty at Ford. Look at Tony, the CEO of Zappos. Look at those of us who are tweeting for Polar Wisdom at Organized Wisdom. Make sure that any presence that you have on the social web includes both an organizational focus but filtered through a personal approach. We really are getting back to a person-to-person, human-to-human healthcare model. Jacqueline will tell you more about that later. The next challenge, integrating an always-on mentality with a turn-it-off legal and regulatory strictures. Now, we know that as you start to look at social media, your lawyers will begin to clamp down on what you can and can't say to try to reduce your liability. Look, consider it this. Your liability is increased by not having a social presence on the web. If you can manage and moderate people's reactions to your services, this wouldn't be a meritocracy, right? It wouldn't be a capitalistic market society. It would be a dictatorial utopia, and that's something that the social web and e-patients absolutely will not stand for. Now, the next challenge is for you to get comfortable with user-generated content. People will say things about your site or service. You don't own that comment. We do. Get used to it. Learn to play in the user-generated content pool or be left behind when the tide turns. Now, the last thing that I would say is a huge challenge for 1.0 companies moving to 2.0 is to underestimate the speed with which people become accustomed to virtual behaviors. We have a lot of misconceptions about who uses Health 2.0. If you talk to a Health 2.0 company, you might be surprised to learn that it's usually a middle-class, middle-aged woman who's making healthcare purchasing decisions, but also that there are plenty of older users who are comfortable with social networking sites, who are using VoIP sites like Skype. Don't ever underestimate your user. Don't underestimate your patient. Design for the middle 80, but make sure that you have services that are accessible to the top 10. Now, the last question that Martijn asked me via email today, when I let him know that I wouldn't be with you this evening, was how do organizations light a spark? How do you light a spark to be willing to look at Health 2.0 tools and technologies? How do you light a spark within your organization to be willing to change? And I'll tell you this, there are plenty of people out there in healthcare with this spark for change. You have to find them. They might come from inside your organization, but they might not. You can find them on the web. Scrub Twitter search. Scrub Google blog search. Look for people in the Medicine 2.0 field of academics who are writing about your hospital or about the social web. There are people ready to be evangelists. I'll leave you with a final thought about lighting a spark. You are a business, so you must find your profits, Profits. But lighting a spark for transformative change is about finding your profits, Prophets. The good news is they're out there. Almost every business has evangelists. Now, whether or not you know of them is a different story. And here's the bad news. If you don't have evangelists, then your site or service isn't worth talking about. And that's the quickest way to remain 1.0 in a 2.0 world. What should differentiate you is the way that you look at patient empowerment, the way that you provide sites and services and tools when and where we want. We're moving toward ubiquitous healthcare available online or offline at will. Start thinking ahead to how you can help patients realize that level of quality, low cost, and convenient care. We're waiting. We want it. We'll help you figure out how to design what we need and want. All you have to do is reach out to us. Don't worry. We've got plenty of sparks to go around. Best health to all of you. Good night.